1965 wasn't a great year. I got awful results in my senior certificate, the equivalent of GCE. It was decided I would repeat some of the subjects and try and improve my marks. So it was with a heavy heart I returned to school to have another go. The summer had been great. We spent our holidays in Ballycastle, and at 15 years of age, there was only one thing on our minds. Yes, you guessed it, boys. My friend, whom I'll call Em so as not to embarrass her, came with the family and we stayed in a house belonging to my aunt. Donovan was popular at the time and we bought ourselves a denim cap each, similar to the one that he wore at the time. Flavoured lipstick was also en vogue, caramel, peppermint and strawberry. We must have looked like two prats as we paraded along the streets of Ballycastle, but we thought we were gorgeous, and it wasn't long before we attracted attention from a couple of local youths. As my parents did not approve of boyfriends, there was a lot of skullduggery and subterfuge going on so that we could meet our new beaux. Luckily there was a carnival that summer and a large tent was set up for dancing in the evening. We were permitted to go, but had to be home by 10 p.m. Sonny and Cher were in the hit parade with I Got You Babe, and I have bittersweet memories of that song. A week or so into our holiday, we arranged to meet the boys and decided to go for a walk to Bonnamargie Friary. Well, you can imagine there was a wee bit of curtain in the Friary, so we ended up being late returning home. Imagine our horror as we walked hand in hand back to Ballycastle to see my father's car driving towards us. It stopped and we were told to get in. There was little chance to say goodbye. A decision was made to take us two delinquents home. The holiday was over. I never saw him again, but we continued to exchange letters until someone else caught my eye. I later found out that he died running a marathon in Manchester. Back at school, things were boring. The only excitement was when one of the girls in the class revealed she had lost her virginity. Not so clever when she found out a few months later she was pregnant. A warning to us all. December came and it was time to organise our annual party. Em was lucky enough to have a huge room in the loft of her house, and we had been allowed to have a party there at New Year. Most were honoured to be on the invitation list, and with that in mind I approached a handsome young man who went to the local Protestant grammar school. He was standing at the bus stop wearing his school cap and scarf, and after a lot of giggling with Em, I went over to extend the invite. He looked at me bluntly and said, "No." Taken aback and feeling embarrassed, I muttered under my breath, "Ignorant sod." His name was Gordon Allen. The party was a huge success. We danced to the Beatles. 2 albums, A Hard Day's Night and Beatles for Sale were most popular. In the dark candlelit room, the lights went up when a parent was on the prowl, couples smooched to If I Fell and I Call Your Name. Ah, the innocence. The year dragged on and I couldn't wait for the summer to come again. I was back redoing some of my subjects and I hated studying and I hated school. In April of 1966, I was given the opportunity to go to France for a month in July. I begged the parents to let me go and they relented. An organisation run by Père de Rocco was organising an exchange trip for students from UK and Ireland with students from France. The excitement was tremendous. A month away from home, flying for the first time, and the warm weather. I was picked to go to a family in Saint-Marcelin, a small town in the Rhone Alps. I would spend 2 weeks there and then 2 weeks in St-Bonnet-en-Champsaur in the Haute Alps. The daughter in the family would return home with me for a month. I set off from Dublin Airport, my head reeling from all the things I wasn't to do. Not sure why, but it was thought appropriate in 1966 to travel in a grey wool suit and black gloves, even though it was the beginning of July. Although I had never flown before, I wasn't afraid and I loved every minute of it. Goodness, how things change. I was newfangled with all the little bits and pieces served with lunch and didn't want to waste the little packs of butter, so I shoved them in my handbag. We flew over the Alps and the pilot told us we were at 32,000 feet. I vowed to come home and apply to be an air hostess. When we landed and I stepped out of the plane, the heat hit me. It was 30 degrees and it was like walking out into a sauna. I was matched with my family and we headed off for our first destination. As we drove along in the car from the airport in Lyon, I put my hand into my handbag to be met with a sticky, gooey mess. The butter packs had melted in the heat and everything was covered in runny butter, including the gloves which had been earlier discarded. A great start to my first holiday abroad. Homesick. Boy, was I homesick. A few phrases in hesitant French did not constitute a conversation, and nobody in the family spoke English. I didn't recognise the food, and when I tasted it, I was not impressed. There was a strong smell of garlic and extremely mature cheese everywhere, and I wondered if it would be possible to fly home the next day. My bedroom was beside a railway line, and trains ran to the south of France during the day and night. I couldn't sleep, and at one stage began to imagine the time was moving backwards. That could probably be explained by the fact that my watch was on upside down. The excitement had worn off. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like it, post a comment and share with your friends. You can also subscribe for free to my YouTube channel to be informed of future episodes. Thank you.